Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. We really do appreciate that. Today I have the absolute honor and the pleasure to be joined by, of course, my very good friend Carlos from the YouTube channel Brooklyn Fragrance Lover, and also master perfumer Claude Dir of Mom.
Hi everybody.
So please stay tuned to the video to listen to the answers to some of our questions. So Claude, would you mind telling us a little bit about your history, your beginnings, and how you got started as a perfumer?
Yes, I started as a perfumer in Grasse, the world capital of perfume. As a young chemist, I was hired by MAN, a privately owned company. Today, I think it's a sixth generation.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So as a young, I started to be a bench chemist. And they had a school of perfumery and flavors, and I did both. And I became a junior perfumer. I did well in the test, so I always had passion, for smell, for fragrance, or anything with smell. And so I was working in Barcelona for a few years, and Maurice Mann sent me to the US because the US is a big market. 33% of the fragrance are sold in the US, and I wanted to go somewhere to live, and so I came to the US with my wife and my daughter, and at that time Man was very small. We had like 6 people when I joined Man.
Yeah.
And I didn't know too much the American market, so it was very, very different for me coming from this little town of Grasse. So I had to get used to, what American people like, food. And I remember going in the store to look at what do they like. And I saw, for example, shampoos, like millions of shampoos. In France we had 10, here you had hundreds already. Do you remember at that time women with big hair and spray, like grease,
Sure.
So, I look at everything, and we started, you don't start find fragrance right away, so we started to do shampoos and candle and fragrance like that, and we did well, and we invested the money in people, and we started to have access to brief, and I started to win fine fragrance, and we did more and more and more fine fragrance, and I spent probably more than 20 years with Man. At one point I left Man, I went to Quest, who was part of Unilever,
Right.
and we did extremely well at Quest, so Givaudan bought us, and at one point I was, after so many years, it's a lot of pressure because, like we were saying before, every day you see the amount of fragrance on the market. It's like non-stop. You don't have time to breathe, so you have to concentrate and find new ideas all the time. So it can be tough sometimes. So I just told my boss. I told him, okay, I want to retire. I want to still working, but I will work from my house in south of France or in Arizona, where I spend winter over there. And I want just to work on less project, just to keep focus, and no meetings, and every perfumer will tell you, in our business, we spend a lot of time also in meetings, and us we want to create,
Yeah.
So that's what I do today. I take few clients like George. I only work with people like Love, like George, and a few others.
Shout out to George.
Yes. And and you'll be surprised. I can really focus on the fragrance, spend time listening, doing trials, and getting my sample by FedEx, just on my computer, sending new idea.
Yeah.
And I win a lot because all my time is creating fragrance. Instead of spending 50% of your time creating and meetings and this and that. Meetings are important, but especially when you work in big company, you always have a lot of meetings, and trust me, I don't miss that today. So it's good. And at one point I decided This was with Givaudan, and I decided to come back to Man, full circle. I wanted to, I know the Man family since a long time, and I wanted to, I'll probably work a few more years, or I don't know, because when you're passionate, it's difficult for me sometimes if I think I'm going to stop doing what I do and like what I'm going to do. Okay, I can ride my bicycle, I can do my painting or whatever, but
Yeah.
I have a big passion for this. This is
Of course, yeah.
all my life, so I'm not, it's easy, you just relax, you smell, it's not heavy, physically difficult, so we can do that forever, probably.
I can just imagine the excitement of getting a new brief and just working it through your mind of how you want to convey and project that into a fragrance. And
Yes, it depends the brief. Sometimes you get a brief and immediately you know, oh, this is, I know and I'm going to win because I know exactly. And I'm telling you, at night you cannot even sleep because you're waiting the next day to be in your lab just to put all those ideas together,
Wow.
So, so sometimes it's like, immediately, and other time you have to dig a little more because sometimes you don't always get the correct information from the client. Sometimes they give you in one direction, you work on this direction, you spend time, a lot of energy, then they switch, they change, and now in your mind you have like, forget what you were concentrating on, drinking all those information, you have to forget this and go to something else,
Or they don't explain it to you the way what they envisioned wasn't explained to you properly for you to execute the
Yeah, or
fragrance.
sometimes, if you work with a celebrity, they have an idea, then, sometimes they change also. They say, oh, no, I don't want to do that, I want to do this direction. But it's part of the business, it's part of the work. Nothing is lost because every time you create something, sometimes you create a great idea that even if you don't sell, you keep, and one day you may go back to this note and create something a little bit different because now you have a new molecule or new different distillation of a different plant, so you have something or an headspace like we were talking about before. So it's always, perfumers are happy people because it's based on passion.
Of course.
It's not like, okay, I have to go to work. I met and I work with a lot of perfumers in my life, and perfumers are people of passion and curious, they want to always, have idea from the street, from museum, from painting, from flowers and traveling the world or whatever, because we need this just to give us new idea.
It must be wonderful just being able to express yourself in a new way with every project that you set out to complete.
Yes, and of course a lot of perfumers have their own signature, but it's also good sometimes to, when I do a fragrance, I win a fragrance, so I'm very happy, but immediately I try to forget this note, because I don't want to be influenced by this, what I did was doing well. I'm trying to find something else, That's what you do. Sometime, and maybe 10 years later, 20 years later, you may look at something that you created a long time ago and make it a little bit different, more modern. Now you have new ingredients, new molecules, and you create something different. So we keep, we keep all those ideas, we treasure all those new ideas.
I was wondering, like sometimes you have to restart, it wasn't the direction that the client was looking for, or maybe you weren't happy with it. Do you ever save something and then utilize it later? Like a certain formula that didn't work for this project, but you keep it on the side and then you put something out that it does work for, or?
Yes, for example, if you work on something for a long time and you have a good accord, good base, good notes, this very interesting wood note or spice, whatever, you keep everything. You keep. If I work for a long time with a fragrance, with a client, every time you have a brief, you have 5, 6 companies who are involved. Only one company will win. But the job, the work you did may be very good. They didn't like because for some reason, maybe it was they had so many good fragrances that to pick one, you know. So doesn't mean that your fragrance is not good. So yes, I may use for them later on, because sometimes they will tell you, you know, you didn't win, but we like this, and they come back and they say, you know, let's keep this and we're gonna rework for
Make a subtle change
another
to it.
direction, or change whatever, or could be for somebody else. As long as you didn't sell, you can utilize for, you know, another client. Once you sell it, it's done. It's over. It just belong to a job. You know, it's finished. You have to. If there is no trademark patent on the juice, it's finished. It's belong to him, and we don't touch.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you for answering our questions.
Thank you for having me, you know.
Yeah, our pleasure. For those of you who don't know, Claude Dir is the perfumer for Zaharoff Pour Homme. We both have reviewed this fragrance, so I'm going to link those videos down below. So if you haven't seen them, please do check them out. We think it's a wonderful fragrance, very classy, elegant, masculine, professional. Although in the live video that we shot earlier, we also mentioned that women love to wear this fragrance too. So definitely go out there, check it out. A big thank you to George, who's standing behind the camera as well. Thank you so much for watching. And once again, thank you, gentlemen, for being on this video with us today.
Pleasure.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone, for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.